Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode here on the Pit Stop. This is where we review the Neo Argama and we give you guys some anime and/or manga news while we wait. We missed out last week. We may have reviewed a little too much last time, so we didn't need to pause for any breaks. But that's fine. We're back. We're here, and we're ready to go. So, what do you do, Gundam Mike? What you got for us today?
Well. So we have some basic stuff. There's not too much crazy news going on, but let's, I guess, jump into the most enticing stuff. So, new chapter of Boruto definitely left quite an impression to a lot of people.
Already getting to the bread and butter. Perfect. Tell us about the new chapter of Boruto.
So, in the new chapter, we pretty much see that both Sasuke and Boruto are pretty much doing their darndest to survive Ishiki, while Naruto is making his way downtown, running fast, can barely make it.
Oh,
but he finally...
Aren't we a little too dated for that joke?
You're never too old for that joke. But anyways,
okay. So
he finally makes it to them, while also intending to fight Ishiki. Is revealed by Kurama that he has a new super sexy ability that, of course, he decided not to use until now. I guess he was just waiting for Naruto to pull main character no jutsu, and then realize he can no longer pull that card. And so Naruto might die, and by might I mean very possibly. From what everything it's kind of building up to, it seems like this is the supposed time for Naruto's death. And from what I hear, it's not only going to be Naruto, apparently it's also going to be Sasuke. So,
you really think that that's how it's going to play out?
I don't know if it's going to be Sasuke right away. Sasuke might be a little later, but Naruto is pretty likely to die. Unless they pull some bullshit like they did with my guy in the Fourth Gates, where he's an ability that's going to kill him, and then it's like, oh no.
Yeah, but the difference with that one is that Naruto was the main protagonist in that one, and he had some new ability that allowed him to rescue my guy from the brink of death. This one is the other way around. This one, he's no longer the main protagonist, he no longer gets plot armor.
Well, technically, the ability was some kind of Otsutsuki ability that he got from the Stage of the Sixth Path. And technically speaking, Boruto has gotten a bunch of Otsutsuki abilities recently.
Correct, but there's no guarantees that Boruto will know how to use them.
I'm not saying there is a guarantee that he'll know how to use it. I'm just saying that if the bullshit was to come, Boruto would probably be the way that it would come. If they find a way to bring him alive or something, that would be it. Other than that, it could be your new favorite scientist who used to work with Kara, apparently, and brought back Jiraiya, kind of, in the Jiraiya clone that is Kashikoji. It might be him, if anything. But, yes, from everything that it looks like, Naruto might die. Again, death being relevant to this show because, I mean, I'm pretty sure at one point or another they're going to give everybody a giant found boner by bringing back all the Hokages, including Naruto, for one last hooray.
Oh, yeah, but then at that point, can you imagine the interaction the fourth Hokage would have? Seeing Naruto reanimated and he'll be like, what?
I'm pretty sure
you were just here and now you're dead?
I'm pretty sure the interaction would be mostly like, oh god, you had a son, you had this as a son, please just bring me back to my death and seal me up, never revive me.
Speaking of, I don't know if it's freaking Naruto's lineage, but both his mom and his dad tend to have a lot of short lifespans, if you catch my drift. His mom died early, the entirety of her
I don't think you can say
early.
I don't think you can say
Naruto's
that
dad
because
died early.
Naruto and Naruto's dad and his mom died early, but that was because there was an incident. I really don't think you can say that specifically.
And you also go with the logic of the fifth Hokage. Every person that the fifth Hokage has kissed on the forehead has met their untimely
That's
death.
just a dumb meme. Although, yeah, he should have died quite a bit. I feel like life has been trying to kill him because of that, and they just keep failing. So now you just see like the version of Naruto's Reaper there being like, "Oh my god, I have such a boner. He's definitely gonna die now."
Oh God! All right, all right, all right. Let's move away from him dying for a moment, and let's do the what if scenario here. Let's play the wild card. Let's say he lives. How does he live, and how does he get away?
I don't think he's gonna live. If he uses the ability from what Kurama said, it's basically like the eight gates. You're basically guaranteed to die. So
Correct,
I'm
correct,
pretty
correct.
sure
But in the what
there's
if
no
scenario
scenario
that he
here.
lives, how could he live?
I don't think there's a scenario he lives. I don't, especially since we know he's gonna die. This is not something where there would ever be a scenario that he lives, unless the creator wants to wait for another opportunity to kill him. And I feel like that would be extremely stupid. You already have the main villain in the show on a pedestal, ready to fight. And what ends up happening, in my opinion, is that he's gonna either kill Ishiki or outright really weaken him. And this is a scenario which will piss me off if he like weakens him to the point that anything can kill him, and then Boruto steals the kill. If this happens, I'm gonna be really annoyed because
Why?
Boruto does not have the right to steal that kill
Why doesn't he have the right to steal that kill? He's
because
the
it's
main
Boruto.
protagonist. It's his show.
Because it's Boruto.
That doesn't
And
explain anything.
I much
about it.
rather see Naruto take that victory to his death than
Because
anything.
it'll be more meaningful if when he dies, he died a martyr since he saved everybody.
Yeah, I guess you can say that.
Fair enough, I guess.
And it just looks like that's the way it's gonna go. I'm not sure if Sasuke is gonna end up being one of those things where it's like that could also be a scenario. Naruto almost wins, and Ishiki's about to die, and then Sasuke throws in, but then Ishiki managed to land a killing blow on both of them while he goes away. That's another way I can see things going.
Right. So if Sasuke runs away, right?
I don't think Sasuke's gonna away. He's not even in the position to move right now. He's been badly getting hurt by Ishiki. If anything, I see him throwing a last ditch effort throw in the middle of nowhere to kind of just like help Naruto a little bit. But I don't think even that would be enough.
But then at that point, he helps Naruto, and then he's screwed. He can't do anything.
Yeah, but that's the point. I feel like both of them are putting their life on the line to save Konoha at this point.
Right.
Because Ishiki's not just... I mean, he doesn't have a need to destroy Konoha, but he probably will. Because he just wants to get Ikibi. He wants to get him, and he's in Konoha, so he's going to end up doing that.
Right.
Once he has Boruto and that guy, it's pretty much his win at that point.
Okay, so what does the death of Naruto and Sasuke, or what does that entail for Boruto and like his friends and stuff?
I think that at that point it's gonna be an awakening call, and we might see, new interest from all of them to improve.
Right, because
We might even see.
that's been the big issue with a lot of people with Boruto. That Boruto right now is in an unprecedented time of peace, so they don't have it as hard as Naruto and everyone else had it.
Yes, but at the same time, in Boruto, there happens to be a lot of terrorist groups.
Correct, but it isn't nowhere as near as when the fourth Hokage
No,
was around,
I know.
when the fifth
But
Hokage was around.
what I mean is that the excuse doesn't really make sense because, like, yeah, I get that, but like the main characters seem to be in constant battle,
Correct,
which is
but
one of my
it's
problems.
constant battle because Naruto allows it. If you really think about Naruto, is God is
No,
their
what
version of God
what I'm
incarnate. He
trying
can do
what I'm
whatever he
trying to
wants
say
necessary.
what I'm trying to say is that even though they are in more battle than Naruto, they don't seem to improve as much as the gang did from their
Because
mission.
there's no urgency. Yeah, you see minuscule improvements here and there, but there was no real dilemma, no real
Okay.
thing that told them, "Hey, we need to."
Again,
hurry up
I
and
think
get
you're
there."
missing what I'm saying, but what I'm really trying to say is the reason why there's no growth is because you have all these godly people with them that are basically glorified babysitters.
No, yes, I agree.
So you have these threats that do happen, but the problem is like, I mean, yeah, this guy seems like a really strong ninja, but then again, Sasuke can drop a moon on you.
Yeah,
So relevancy,
that's
right?
kind of, I don't know, from my perspective, that's kind of when you know a show or something that's written like a manga or something. That's when, from my opinion, that's when it gets a little stale, because
But
at that
that's
point
why
you have such a trigger on command that you can just say, you can just de-escalate any scenario you could ever think of, because I have
this
this
is
really powerful entity that the main protagonist and his crew cannot defeat. Oh, but wait, we have the overpowered parent from the previous show that has still all of his knowledge and all of his experiences, and he still has all of his upgrades from when he was the main protagonist of his
okay,
show.
but this is why I say the Boruto manga is better than the anime, because the Boruto manga goes straight into Kara, concentrates on Kara as a thing, and then builds upon that. And Kara is much more interesting, considering the fact that it has people in the organization that are as strong as Naruto and Sasuke, and actually builds upon a threat. Of course, you can say that the threats are kind of bullshit, because I mean, you're telling me you can build a cyborg that's as strong as Naruto this entire time, and people haven't been doing it.
And why haven't people
So,
been doing it?
well, I mean, their excuse is that they have a scientist, but still.
Right.
Anyways, but yeah, it's is Naruto gonna die? Probably. Is this where Naruto dies and it goes into like a realization / time skip arc? Probably.
Yeah, I could see a time skip happening here. Because is there really any real way of explaining growth immediately after without them skipping forward in time?
Well, I feel like there probably is going to be a training arc still before the grand skip, and maybe then there'll be some more growth, because there still needs to be some kind of Boruto needs to learn to control his karma in order to actually put up a fight in general. Because right now he's basically acting like a ghetto version of an Otsutsuki. He's letting that other Otsutsuki control him pretty much, which is, I guess, okay, but I mean, that's the way they take over your body, so should he really be letting him get away with all that? You know?
I personally don't think so.
But, again, I guess it's going to be up to how this whole thing gets resolved.
Before we move on here to whatever else we have, I'm just gonna leave you with this, and I have a feeling that a lot of people are gonna drop this show and or manga the moment they see Naruto die.
I don't think they are. The manga, I don't think they are.
Like
The
they
show,
are, and hear me out. Just a lot of people that just stay with this show only because they want to know what's next for Naruto's life. And if there is no Naruto, then they don't care.
I'm going to tell you why that's a wrong assumption. The people who were waiting for Naruto to die because of how everything happened and how long this is taking, have already dropped the show. They'll come back to read the chapters, but they're not avid readers. They're only coming back to read that chapter, and then we'll see that from these next following chapters. But the ones that are reading it right now are going to stick with it, at least the manga. The anime is not something I would say to portray whether the fans will stay or go, because the anime is taking its own time, it's doing its own thing, and it's clearly losing viewers because it's taking too long to get to processes. It's not entirely their fault, but they're the ones that decided to be a shonen show, you know? And so it's up to them how they deal with this whole situation. I would say that I feel like the manga will get more enticing after Naruto dies, because then you have no longer the shield. You have godly beings that still exist, and you don't have a shield anymore protecting you from everything.
Right, of course.
So moving on from that,
well, you were just telling us about prior to all of this, talking about mangas related to onechans. So tell us about onechans and their mangas.
well, there's not much to tell other than the fact that there's more mangas coming out for any of you big sister types out there, quite a bit, and expect a lot of animes coming out that same way.
Wow, what do you mean? Explain.
There's not much to explain. It's just the big sister archetype is becoming more popular, so expect more.
All right, fair enough.
What I once want to talk about was the outrage on Twitter about the Gundam statue.
Ooh, what happened with the Gundam statue?
So apparently this is, I guess there's always is this outrage, but this has gone from two ways. It has gone from newscasters to just regular people being stupid as hell about this. Mostly is regular people complaining about why did Japan build this giant statue instead of quote unquote feeding the poor, which I will say, you guys do realize Japan didn't fund this, right? This was Bandai. This was a company. Also, this statue is not just a statue for show. It's literally was made with a bunch of engineers that were quote unquote paid for by Bandai to be used as a statue. Well, not really a statue. It moves. It's actually a robot. It's a giant robot that they're using as a platform to their new factory in Yokohama. I need to look at the town. I'm mispronouncing it like hell, but it's basically the new place where they're going to build a Gundam factory in. And
they decided to spend all of their money and resources into building this giant statue that can tell the world to go and eat a big one. But only dedicated to Gundam.
Well, no, they didn't spend all their money on the statue. That's the thing. Bandai is, according to how much money they make, apparently, Bandai is strong enough to be basically Scientology in Japan.
Wow.
They own their own parts of cities in Japan where they have the Gundam factory. So they're complaining about the fact, saying things like, oh, they wasted their money on this or whatever. And then the other one from hot takes from big YouTube reporters, or not YouTube reporters, from just random, I guess, rich people, is you should grow up, stop caring about these toys and stuff, which I find rich, considering the fact that most of these guys make their careers just acting like jackasses online. Also, the whole construction brought like a tons of money to workers all around that bay that was been closed down for years. So
that actually worked out. So in a way, it did kind of feed the poor and the hungry.
Not to mention that it's predicted that it's going to bring money to a part of the city that was severely afflicted by Corona. Almost all industry.
They helped in so many different ways that people didn't really understand. Isn't Bandai great?
Oh no, they're
and by that I mean Bandai, hurry up and give us a new Gundam show already. Make it a UC show, please.
Yeah, at this point, I think they're just like teasing everybody's balls because they clearly are now working on a different show to bring in a new Sunrise show, but not a Gundam show.
What kind of show?
I do not know. I just know that they're in the works. So they're also in the works for the new show, Akira.
And they could be taking all of their time into making a really good Gundam show instead. I don't get it.
They're also
in the butter is, and they're not milking it.
Well, they're also in the works for a new Akira.
Ooh, like a reboot, a revamp.
They're not specify on it. Some people are saying, someone's saying that it's going to be a show version of Akira, which it could be.
But like what? Like new story? Or grabbing the old movie and...
Well, it's going to be... It's going to use the story somehow as a reboot. It might be a reboot. It might be a continuation. It might just be a retelling of the story as a show, for all I know.
Right, of course.
So I guess we'll see when we see.
Well, we just got to hope that it's something magical, right?
Yes. Also, Netflix have pretty much expanded their anime slate by making a deal with 4 studios. I believe it was Studio NAS, Science Studio Mir, and Studio Mappa. So you guys might be seeing more of, what is it, Genki the Grappler, or Genshi, or Baki the Grappler, that's what it was.
Wow, you can't even remember the name of the show correctly.
Look, there's like 15 different shows about muscular man fighting or touching each other in different ways. Okay, we're not even including JoJo in here, so don't give me no shits about this.
Fair enough.
Anyways, for all you Bleach fans, Bleach is coming back next year.
Oh
At
yeah,
some point.
they're finally getting to reevaluate the final chapters and actually animate them. I'm guessing, right?
Yes. Well, there's still no giving quote unquote actual reason why the show was canceled. There's many theories anywhere from the show creators being in bad terms with showrunners, and also the fact that apparently the show was just running out of budget, which is considerate. There was talks about the same thing happening to many other shows, but someone needs to explain to me how quote unquote Bleach was as popular as Naruto, yet didn't have the funding to continue like Naruto did.
Yeah, right. Because back in the day, the big three were Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, and they were each neck
Yeah.
and neck. Yeah, Bleach didn't have the funding. That made no sense.
There's some people who are Bleach fans that blame Oda for it. They blame that Oda was getting all the love from Shonen Jump, which was stupid. It was all built upon the fact that technically the creator of Bleach and Oda are not necessarily in good terms with each other. I feel like I'm saying this, and Ben is gonna one day hear this, and then he's just gonna become a Bleach fan just to spite One Piece.
What's so bad about One Piece that he won't even give it an opportunity?
Look. I can't stand One Piece. All right, it's not a bad anime. I don't think the writing's bad. I just can't stand it.
But why?
I don't care for it. I don't care for it, and I don't care for the fans trying to force it upon me. And I'm pretty sure he just feels the same.
Okay, but like I said, like give a legitimate reasoning why you don't care for it. Don't just say I don't
The
care
art's
for it.
not my style. The story seems to go in a weird way a little too adventure for my taste.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't stick to a foregone plot too much. It's trying to do its own thing, which I get it. That's why Bleach fans, I mean, not Bleach fans, almost pissed off Bleach fans again. That's why, One Piece fans love it, and I get that, but I just don't care for it. It's not a bad show. It's just I personally do not care for
Fair
it.
enough. It's not your cup of tea, and you're entitled to that opinion.
Yes, I am. I'm super entitled.
To that opinion.
Anyway, so along with that news, we have the news that Brenda Witch is not only getting serialized to the manga, but is also receiving an anime, which is a shock to no one, because at this point, if Bleach is getting a comeback, that means the creator is getting a full comeback.
Exactly. We've already seen the first 3 episodes of the 4 chapters that were out. They do change things up a little bit, but not enough for it to be different. So it's something definitely worth watching.
To all the one Dr. Stone fans, Dr. Stone is getting a kickoff of his new season with a brand new episode that apparently has already come out.
Whoa. I'm going to pause you for a moment. What do you mean by one? There is dozens of people that actually enjoy the show.
The one fan, because this show is bad.
Again,
I'm not even.
alright.
If you can't tell, I think the show is bad. But I think the show is bad.
Okay, but don't just say it's bad. Tell us why. Explain.
It is crap tactic Shonen Jump garbage.
What do you mean?
It's a wannabe scientific show that scraps the idea of actually being scientific in favor of kooky science experiments that win us the fight. I don't really care for it. It's dumb. I read the manga. It goes nowhere fast, and I do not care for it.
No, again, you're entitled to your opinion.
It's a fact. But anyways, not the point here. Point being, if you guys like this thing that we call a show, the newest episode seems to have already come out for the next season, and the rest of it will come out later, I guess, this year or next year?
Hopefully.
At some point. But you guys have something to watch in the meantime.
Speaking of shows that came out that
use that time to watch some good anime like Gundam, but you can waste it on this.
Speaking of shows like this one that slipped past us and we didn't notice it were out, is it wrong to try to pick up Girls in the Dungeon? Season 3 has been out for a while now, and not a lot of people knew about it apparently. I follow that show religiously, and if I didn't know about it,
Well,
imagine.
to be fair, the show isn't popular. It just isn't popular. It's well known enough. I think I compare it to, what can I say? The regular Magic High School, ironically, which is just gonna make Kevin not
Oh
want to
yeah,
watch the
that's
show
Kevin's
even more.
favorite show, right?
That's Kevin's favorite show, but it's the same kind of thing where the show was popular but not popular enough. I almost feel like Railgun had the same problem. Like it was there, and it's not bad.
Though the problem with Railgun and Index is that those shows came out over 10 years ago, and it took them more than 5 years to continue the show. They didn't even reboot it. They were just like, we're just gonna continue it and hope that the fans kind of remember that we were here.
I guess you can say that, but my point is, it just doesn't have the build up enough to become a major show. I mean, Crunchyroll is also a big problem in it, right? Because I mean, it ends up being where Crunchyroll kind of dictates which shows are popular.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
so
both
a lot of people are
good
using.
and bad.
Yeah, and to me, it's only bad. It really is only bad. I feel like wish that there needs to be some kind of new way to stream anime, which is coming. There's studios who are tired of this stuff happening here, and are bringing anime in general over here in their own way.
Speaking of, this reminds me a lot of, well, what's supposed to be happening in Japan, where, because like you said, right, Crunchyroll and Funimation tend to dictate what goes and what doesn't. There was a lot of creators that felt that was kind of unfair and wanted to do their own thing. They wanted to launch their own YouTube channel dedicated to streaming
That's what I was
various
talking
kinds
about.
of anime. What happened to that? We heard
That's
about it.
still
but we
being
never
worked.
got
It's
anywhere.
it's not something that happens overnight. It's still on the works, from everything that we understand.
Right. Right. I'm just waiting for that, and I'm really hoping that we get to see a lot of variety, and not just what gets dictated to be good or bad.
Yeah, and hopefully it will be that way. Hopefully we will see a lot of great stuff coming on this way.
Oh, okay. See, that makes sense because there's a lot of creators that tend to partner with YouTube for the purposes of doing premium subscription shows.
So with that, we also have Goku being a tremendous ass man by apparently not finishing the fight with Moro and instead giving him a sensu beam so he can come back into the fight. I wonder where he did that before.
Right? I wonder when he did that before too.
Well, besides copying his mistake from the Cells games, it seems that a lot of people are starting to say that Goku cannot really be considered a hero anymore.
Why?
Well, because he keeps helping villains fuck up the world, mostly.
Right, of course.
Maybe it's something of your abilities that you didn't properly know. Mwahaha.
Probably, but that was
Mwahaha.
Alright, anyways. Moving
That's
on.
all I got for now, so I guess moving on to whatever you want to talk about.
Right. We got no chapter for My Hero this week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, according to the creator, he was taking a break, so I'm pretty sure it was just because of that. He is working on some kind of surprise for My Hero
I'm
fans.
going to reference something we talked about months ago, and the creator for My Hero, even prior to the pandemic, was known for taking consistent breaks and more frequently than other creators, and he got a lot of hate for that, especially from other creators like the big three that said if you had worked in the industry during our heyday, you wouldn't have made it. So what's up with him? Why the special treatment of being able to take as many breaks as he wants without any repercussions?
Well, I think it was the big three weren't really saying that as a hateful thing. They were saying that as a truth of how the industry has changed. So at least some parts of Shonen Jump are realizing that the whole work until you die mentality that they've been putting up has not given them enough results to warrant keeping that mentality.
Okay.
And it seems like they're going back to the idea of trying to do quality over quantity, which is somewhat mediated. I mean, we are getting a heck of a lot of better shows and a lot of better manga, especially recently. One that comes to mind immediately is the whole Saving the Villagers manga. I think I talked to you about it. That's a Shonen Jump manga. I didn't even realize it.
Ooh, tell us more about that one.
That one is a story. It's a weird version, you could say, of an isekai, where the guy's not really going to a different world, but instead he is in charge of characters who live in a different world.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned to me about that one a little bit, but for those of us that haven't heard about it, tell us more.
Basically, this story revolves about this guy who ran away from trying to save his sister from a guy with a knife who was stalking her. And after a series of events of other things happening, he became disillusioned with the world, became pretty much one of those guys that stays at home all the time, and became shunned from his family. Not only because of what he did to his sister, but also because he wasn't doing anything. It's been 10 years and he hasn't done anything with his life.
Right.
He gets his game in the mail and decides to just take a new leash on life after playing the game for a little bit and starting to care for these characters, which at first he thought were just AIs. But after realizing in a while that he cared about their lives and how they wouldn't give up on life, even being in this horrible situation, he decided to improve his own life. This is a very good feel-good manga, and I recommend a lot of people read it.
Right, so this is basically what you're explaining is somebody that didn't care about anything because of his circumstances, and the game kind of convinced him that there is something worth living, basically.
Yeah.
Oh well, that sounds pretty interesting. Maybe check that out. Maybe not.
Definitely check it out.
On a scale from 1 to 10?
I would say it's at least a 7.
At least a 7. Ooh, okay, that's a pretty okay number right there. And well,
Yeah.
moving on to our next topic here. Have you been keeping up with Yasahime?
So far I got to episode 3. Is that what episode we're on now? Am I missing an episode?
I believe that's the episode we're on. I will verify with you right now. But based on the 3-episode rule that we like to go by, what do you feel so far?
So far, I feel like it's a good anime.
Okay. But break down the 3-episode rule for those that don't know.
Well, the 3-episode rule is that if you watch something for 3 episodes and it hasn't even caught your interest even a little, it might not be your anime. Now, this rule can be accepted if you have a friend recommendation that tells you, no, you should keep watching over this episode or so. That really depends on how you feel. But usually, it's a very good rule to go by, whether you'll like an anime or not.
Right. By the way, I just confirmed we are on episode 4 right now.
Also, the new episode came out. Did you watch the new episode?
Yes, I watched the new episode. And
I haven't watched it, so please don't give me no spoilers.
Okay, fine. I won't give you any spoilers. It's just exactly as you expected. They're gonna travel back and forth, and this episode felt really reminiscent of the older generation of people who were watching this show. It gave you this feel because there's a scene where you get to see pictures of Kagome. And then it just immediately gave you like feel good flashbacks of the original show. It just tugged at your heartstrings, and you just were like feeling really distraught over everything. So I don't know. I enjoyed episode 4. It was a nice twist when you saw the ending credits for the episode on episode 3. You were shown what looked like Kikyo. I like the twist that they had for this episode and that explanation for it. I can't wait for more. I'm loving it so far.
Okay.
I think we're done, guys. Neo Argama should be done refueling anytime soon. We're probably gonna cut it short here. You know, as they always say, the best things in life are always the things you wait for. So catch us next week. And this is Gundam Zeta taking off.